fucking
single
Asian.
epidemic, like an overwhelmingly large amount of people who are single. Yet everyone seems to be looking for love. And I'd like to add my 2 cents as to why I think that is. I think it's three main things. I think one, everything has to be social media approved now. It's not enough for you to find somebody that makes you happy. You also have to find someone that is going to put you in a relationship where you're able to brag about it all on social media, and that's not helpful. Two, the idea that there is going to be this perfect person who completely understands you upon meeting them, and you won't have to communicate the way that you want to be treated, and you won't have to have these tough conversations, and everything will just work out perfectly. That's not helpful. And then three, which I think is like probably the most deadly and something that I myself am very guilty of, is that we have gotten so far into like encouraging everyone to be independent and be happy on your own, which is important. I say it all the time. It is very important. But I think that we're kind of in a point where we've overcorrected. Like, you keep seeing this rhetoric of like, oh, you don't owe people this, you don't owe people that, like, you don't have to put up with that. And I think that you guys are missing the fact that, like, when you are in a relationship with someone, even if it's not romantic, even in a friendship, there are going to be aspects of this relationship that are not necessarily pleasant all the time. And the
All right, we can stop right there. I want to go with Molly first. And Molly, what are your thoughts on what she's saying about the singleness epidemic? Is there a singleness epidemic? And do you agree with her, or do you not agree with her, or do you think that there's other reasons why there are supposedly so many single people out here?
I agree with her. I think social media has distorted our perception of relationships and how we're supposed to be in relationships. I started seeing it decline like back in the MySpace days. So I think it's just gotten worse. If everybody is so happy, I don't think nobody is happy single, to be honest. I don't even feel like that's a natural way for us to be living. So I do think I agree with her. I think it's time for us to course correct and kind of stop having unrealistic expectations of relationships and other
Mhm.
people, and accept people for who they are a little bit more, and not do it for the gram. Like, you have some people who are in relationships just for like an Instagram relationship or a YouTube relationship. So
Mm.
I
All
think
right.
we have moved far away from reality because of social media.
Look, before I go to you, Slimmy, and I see that Q Diddy got his hands over his face, I want to get Carrie's thoughts. Carrie, do you agree with what the woman said about there being a singleness epidemic and the reasons for that epidemic?
Absolutely. I do. I do. I think that people have come up with an imaginary idea of what the ideal relationship would be. And I think that I think the reasons that she listed are definitely a part of it.
Okay. Q Diddy, why you got your hands over your face, big dog?
I don't know. It's probably something typical that Molly said.
You don't remember? Okay, well, we'll come back to you. Slimmy, you didn't agree?
No, she's right. I mean, um, I think the more apps we get, like the more further we cut we divert away from actual relationships. I mean, who needs a relationship when you can look right on Instagram and see the finest woman you've ever seen? And like, people, this is how people think. You know, I'm not talking about me, but I'm just saying this is how people think. Like, I see the finest girl in my phone right here. I got access to her. I could talk. I could try and talk to her. I could shoot my shot right there. You know,
Mm.
even though you might see her in person and you don't say shit, but that's something else. I think that's a part of the problem too. People are scary. You know, people don't want human interaction in real time because of social media. They think social media is reality. They think this is what's real. They think this is what we are supposed to be doing. When in actuality, we are supposed to be meeting people in person and interacting in person. Human interaction is actually what we're supposed to be doing. It actually keeps you grounded. Go ahead, Quinn. God damn, you had your chance to talk.
No, I didn't have my chance to talk. He said, "Why was my hands over my face?" He didn't ask me the question that he asked everybody else.
Okay.
and I raised my hand because I didn't want to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But if it's better that I just cut you off instead of raising my hand, I
No,
can do
you
that
did
too.
good. You raised your hand. That was good.
Go ahead,
Usually
Quinn.
I just cut you off and tell you you're wrong.
Go ahead,
Well,
Quinn.
it wasn't wrong.
But
so you
I
couldn't do
think
that.
you're partly right, but I just think it's a woman thing. I don't think it had nothing to do with dudes. I think it's all women thinking they can have all what they want and it's Disney. I think dudes do. We've done what we've always done. It's women. You got fat women thinking they bad bitches now, type shit.
You think that they think that?
Yeah,
Or do
nigga.
you think that they're just saying that?
No, nigga. They think there's a reason the motherfuckers won't lose weight. Nigga.
Men are
Shit.
busting them down and paying for their OnlyFans.
No, no.
Ego.
That group
I
chat
don't think
said
that these women are
otherwise.
having sex, all of them.
What group chat?
Listen,
That
let me say
picture,
this.
who's that? Mika that posted that in the group chat?
That's
Let me say
that's
this.
that
I
girl.
believe
Exactly.
that I don't believe that most people are single. I think that most people have somebody that they're having something going on with, but they're not necessarily designating it as a relationship. I think that now, think about it. Just in the last few years, we've had words come out like situationship, right?
Yeah.
People are redefining what a relationship is now. I think that traditionally, when you was talking to somebody, it would naturally progress into a relationship. Now we're redefining what is happening on a regular basis, and part of that is that we just kind of we like nomads. You know what I'm saying? In a way, without actually putting a label on it, a lot of people are poly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that most people, not any. I don't think that most people are ever really single. I don't think that even if a woman is not in a relationship technically, that she doesn't have somebody that she's not talking to, dealing with, or interacting with on a regular basis in some form of companionship. And it makes it easier to be able to be single. Back a while ago, when you were single, you were single. Now, you may be in a situationship. You may have friends. You may have somebody that you can go back to. It's somebody that you're always talking to. Even when you break up with the person that you used to be with, he might still be fucking you sometimes. Like, it's always something. It's always a situationship. And in a way, I think that most people are operating in a poly environment. Most people are not ever truly single. They just not with the person that they're going to ultimately marry, maybe.
You know what?
I wonder. I wonder. Sorry, what were you saying, Slim?
No, you know what? I think that's always been a thing. We just got older and more titles for it came out. I think people always been in situationships. Like always. Like, because now when I start thinking back,
hard though.
when I start thinking back and I start looking at certain situations I seen in my family, like those are situationships. That nigga used to always come around, but they wasn't never the boyfriend. Why is this nigga over here?
I mean, honestly, I see women, for example, online right now, saying stuff like, like I broke up with him or we got divorced, but we never really was together or became friends and all of this other shit. It's like, you was never single, ever.
Nope.
I don't.
Hey, you know what it was? Back then, in like the 80s and the 90s and in the early 2000s, that shit was taboo. It was taboo.
I don't think that we had so many women giving all of their business on the internet.
And that too. You know, there
wasn't like back then, like to get a hold of somebody, you had to call a motherfucker's house.
Yeah, no,
but there's way more.
You couldn't just like text them and put it on, turn the notifications off.
But also there weren't no support groups for that shit because it was taboo. So there wasn't no community that was like, oh, I did it. They'd be like, well, what you talking about?
Yeah,
you can't do that. You got shamed.
Yeah, and I think that it was also like I remember, damn, I'm about to start really being my age. I remember back in the day, it was like you can get hooked up by your homie or whatever.
Yeah.
And you'll be talking to her on the phone and be like, what you look like?
Yeah.
She'd be like, you know, I'm brown skin. You know, like, oh yeah. Like it's so funny the shit that women get offended for on the internet today. You could ask that shit back in the day. You'd be like, yeah, okay, oh yeah, how tall are you? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
she'd be like, I'm thick or whatever. And be like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like
We gonna meet up at the mall.
you would have her have to paint the picture mentally. It wasn't no fucking internet. It wasn't none of
Yeah.
that shit, right?
Shit,
And
my
you
kid, he
just
saw some
risked
titties
it.
before he see
You
the
just
girl in
risked it.
person. He see a damn titties on the phone before he meet her in person and shit.
Well, like for example, like your homeboy will call, you know, be like, hey man, you know what I'm saying? I'm about to go, you know, my girl, you know, be like, oh, she got a friend? Yeah, she got a friend. What she look like, dog?
Not
And then
now,
you
nigga.
just had to risk that
You
shit.
had to trust it.
Yeah.
Yup, you have to trust that shit, nigga.
You
And
went
then
with it.
hey,
Right now,
gonna
nigga,
meet
you
up
got
at
a
the
whole
mall.
Facebook full of pictures before you go out.
You gonna meet up at the mall, and then shoot. And this the
And
thing
you gotta
about
play
the mall.
nice until
That's
the
the thing
date's
about the
over.
mall.
If they
You'll be
ugly.
like, hey, that's them over there. If she look bad, you go the whole other way. You go the other side
Yep,
of the mall.
yep. And I remember my homeboy. It's so funny. He's probably at work right now. I could probably call him. But I remember my homeboy, and he was driving because he was older than me. He was like 3 or 4 years older than me. And he was already driving. And he'd be like, hey, you know, because it'd be late. You know, we used to be on 7 Mile and hitting the strip and shit. And sometimes you'll run dry. You know, your numbers and all of that shit run dry. And he was like, you know, we be checking like, yo, you got a girl or whatever that you want to hit up or whatever. And one time he was like, yo, you know, I got my homegirl over there. And we would label them. Like we would give them names like, oh, that's, you know, we would give them labels like whatever they look like. And like, yo, dog, I got this girl. She looked like this. She got like that. And when you finally ran into one, like her homegirl was actually fine, that shit was like hitting the lottery, bro.
Hell yeah.
It was like hitting the lottery. Like, oh,
yeah, but she had to like you too, because don't think that we didn't do the same thing with y'all.
I bet y'all did. We didn't have that view
Same
on y'all
thing.
side though. We didn't have the view on y'all side. Like,
Like,
damn,
why his breath smell like that?
Or here was the thing: if your homeboy's girl, if she was fine, if he was talking to her, be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, she looked like you, or you don't roll with no ugly girls, and I'm like that, right? Like, no, you don't do that. All right, cool. You know what I'm saying? We don't stop to
like
see what's
Janet
happening.
Jackson.
That's
So
what I thought
it was
about.
different. Like
Jackson.
you was willing to drive the other half of the fucking city or catch the fucking bus or meet them at the mall and just risk that shit. Life was so easy and it was so much better. It was some fun fucking times. It was just so much better back then, man.
Hell yeah.
Internet fucked everything up. Now y'all niggas trying to fly chicks out from whole nother states. What the fuck is wrong with y'all, dog? Niggas trying to fly a chick out just to get some box.
Well, and you don't even necessarily need to interact with anybody, because people are still getting the adrenaline rush. They're still getting the endorphins from just clicking and looking at a
I
person.
don't
They
think
don't
they
even have
getting
to
it the
talk.
same way though.
No, not the same. But that's what I'm saying. It's crazier now because there's so many different ways to like feed a need without even having to do any of that. It won't be the same, but a guy or a girl for that matter can flip through something on Instagram. A girl just getting a like or a comment gives her a rush. A
Yeah.
guy looking at a girl's picture gives him a rush. Like it's just there's never those moments where it's like, dag, I'm bored. I can't get in touch with nobody. I can't leave because I can't drive. Like, you can always be occupied with something that's kind of filling that need.
Yeah. Like we used to actually drive around the city and hit the spots to see where the girls was at. Wasn't no fucking Instagram, wasn't no Facebook, wasn't no none of that shit, bro. We was just out in the spot. Like we love to get stuck on Belle Isle and shit. Like you get stuck in traffic and motherfuckers has got the music blasting everywhere and people kicking in and shit. That shit was fun as fuck, bro. That shit
used to be hard. See that we be down in the flats, and like down
every
in the
city
flats,
got their spots. Yep.
Man, everybody bring their cars out.
Yep. You got to go listen, and you get the armor all on your tires. You can't show up without the armor all on your tires. If somebody had a car, they was like the most coveted motherfucker as soon as y'all first started driving and shit. Like, what's wrong, Karen?
Somebody in the chat, they said it, the let out. It's always the let out after
Yep.
the club
It
or
is.
after a
It
game or
is.
Shoot,
after
we
something.
used to always go to the marathon on 55th.
Yep.
That's downtown,
It
like
was
right.
always a gas station to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It was
Not
always
that
something.
far from the project, so
I
it
think
ended
that
up
the
not being in the
singleness
project.
epidemic is happening because I think it's a lot of reasons. I think one of the other reasons is that I think it's a lack of social skills now. The internet
Yeah,
has prevented people from being able to be social, to know how to talk to people, to interact. Women don't know how to smile no more. Guys don't know how to go up to a chick no more.
not at
And so
all.
I think that we have regressed socially, even though we have more access to people every single day. Niggas rather type a message instead of say what up. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's going on? What you got going on today? People don't know how to approach nobody no more. Everybody's scared because of this. We were so woke that a chick could say, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just a bunch of dumb shit that basically killed our ability to talk to each other. And I just think it's fucked up.
That's true. That's even happened to me. Like even when if I'm out and I meet a female and we just kind of hit it off,
Yeah,
it's like we don't really know what to say. Like, do you say what's your number? Do you say what's your IG? Like
yeah.
you'll almost ask for their IG before their phone number now.
Yep,
It's
you do.
like, what am
You're
I
absolutely right.
saying?
You're
Like, how do I
absolutely
make
right.
a friend? I had to really relearn how to make a friend.
Well, it's more safe to give someone your social than your phone number.
And that's the other
Unless you don't have
component.
social. Some people ain't on social.
I'm just saying, I can block you from like social, but if you got my phone number, then you can just do whatever the fuck you want.
Molly, for example, is not on
Yeah,
social media.
Molly ain't on nothing.
I don't know what her not being on that has anything to do with anything.
Well,
Huh?
we saying that some people don't have
Then
social.
she would just have to
It's
give out her
not.
phone number. She would
I
have to be
say
the
this.
person that getting bugged because she had to give her phone number out because she didn't have no IG.
There are some people. It's not uncommon to link up with people or whatever. I found, and that they don't have social media. They don't even fuck with it.
I didn't know this. This was kind of weird. I was at the barbershop and this nigga had his business card on on a bracelet. He's like,
Mhm.
scan my bracelet. I was like,
Oh
damn,
yeah,
nigga.
that's been out there for a few years now.
That's still
Yep,
Yeah,
weird,
you're
nigga.
right.
Where your business? I need something to put in my wallet, nigga.
but it'll take you, but it'll take you straight to his
So then now
website through your
you
phone.
just one of the 500 open tabs on my phone now.
Yeah, 500.
Dude, I got a shit ton of open tabs on my phone, bro. People thought that shit was weird. I got a bunch.
Wait,
Oh, for the
500?
internet, for
I
your
don't like
internet.
mine getting past
I
Hold
mean,
on, let me
30.
see. One moment.
how many do I have open? I had to go in and delete mine.
What?
I have 230 open.
What?
So I don't
Wait
forget
a
it because
minute,
I keep it so because one day I'm gonna go back to them.
man.
But I don't think that I
30.
will say that I do think that we wound up becoming more socially developed. I remember summers when we used to play this game called A Day Without a Number, and we would go to the mall, we would go to every single spot, and we would talk to every single girl that we was interacted with. And it was just normal. You know what I'm saying? It was normal to walk around with a pen in your pocket. We wouldn't worry about the paper because you could always go in the store and be like, hey, y'all got a piece of paper or whatever, so on and so forth. And so it was just normal to walk up and talk to girls, and you would just talk to hundreds of girls every single week. It was just crazy. You just talk to girls
Who
and
got
people was
the
outside.
numbers? How many numbers you get?
Yep, people was outside. People were outside.
Yeah, I think it's the exact opposite now. People don't want to be rejected. It was like you actually use the rejection to find out more creative ways to ask for the number.
Yeah, it wasn't we didn't look at it as rejection though. We
Yeah,
just
it's
was
just
just
like you
like,
didn't win that time. It's just like, all right, bet.
yeah,
It ain't even no disrespect. I'm gonna
yeah,
use this. I'm gonna learn from this.
yeah.
I'm gonna figure it out. It was a game.
Now
You know what I'm saying?
motherfuckers will get mad and call you a bitch.
Yeah, nah, that's crazy.
Like, damn, dog, was it that deep?
That's
You
crazy.
know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, she just said she had a boyfriend. That's all.
Yeah, that should be
Niggas don't
crazy.
know how to read the room. They be apprehensive. They be asking questions like, "Well, what do I say to her?" Like, nigga, just say, "What up?" Like, say hi. I don't know. Just read the room. It's not that hard.
I think that's social media though. Like it, especially like the younger generations. I was listening to something and it was basically saying because their brains are developed before like 25
Mm,
and they are so antisocial, they're not taking those risks like the people before them did to be able to cope with being anxious
yeah.
or embarrassed because they're not even going outside to take risks to even be able to process how to handle certain situations. So
No, you 100%
it's a
right.
technology.
Yep.
That's what made me better in sales. Like
Yeah.
the fact that I didn't mind talking to people. There are people that are deathly afraid of like public speaking, talking to people. They like will clam up, all of that shit.
Yeah.
So it be people that be coming on the channel sometimes, like on Monday nights and stuff, and they be super enthusiastic in your DMs and the emails and all of that shit, and they just clam the fuck up.
Yeah, it's 5,000 people over there too.
But they just clam up, and I'll be like, "What's?" And they be like, "Oh, I'm gonna be different next time." I didn't know it was just I didn't understand it. They clam up.
Yeah.
They clam up, and they be like, "Bro, you want me to cut the chat off or what?" You know what I'm saying? Like people clam up. They clam up every single day. So
Sometimes
yeah,
they'll
Boy,
say
I know
they'll
clamming
be
up
in the chat
last
and say,
night.
"Oh,
you said what?
I clammed up the first time that I was talking to Melanie King. I was stuttering and shit.
Oh my god. Quentin, would you stutter now if she came up here? Would you still stutter?
No.
He hate her now.
Yeah, nah.
Hey,
Quinn
don't
is
say
That
that.
ain't real hate.
Quinn.
That
Right
ain't
now,
real
listen,
hate.
the Quentin today is way different than the Quentin in yesteryear.